Guys, so I recently uploaded my 90-day progress video for Punjabi, and a lot of people were asking me like about the methods and materials that I used during this time. Um, I did upload a video in the beginning, talking about those things. I'd say most of it stayed the same. Uh, there were some changes, and so, but I am going to talk about the things that I feel like I benefited from most and the things that I either continue to use because I'm still technically learning. Like I'm not just gonna abandon Punjabi right now, because I have a history of that. But so yeah, so things that I'm either currently still using or that I plan to use. Which actually I don't think I really plan to use anything right now. I'm just kind of taking one day at a time. Anyway, so um, so yeah, this book. I actually finished this book. This is the first Teach Yourself that I have ever finished, like the entire thing. So that's an accomplishment. Usually, what would happen is that I would be um, like talking with people before I finished the book. But the thing with Punjabi is that oh, and actually, that's kind of an important like thing is that I never hung out with Punjabi people. Like I never like heard this language like spoken around me. Um, the closest thing I had was music for like 20 years or something, which that's gonna be another video. But so mainly what I focused on this 90 days was listening, just because all these sounds. Oh, sorry, my hair. All these sounds, these even though I heard it in music, it's different when you hear it like in a spoken conversation. And it's also my first Indian language that I have taken on. So, there were a lot of like new sounds and like somewhat the structure too, because, whatever. So I did focus on listening most of this time, but I like to know grammar patterns. So that's why I used this book. And I think this book is pretty good. It's not, perfect, but it's quite good, and its explanations are pretty good. The only thing is that it doesn't really mention like the difference between like the colloquial way that people talk. There is like a small part that it said like one thing that is different, but like it really like if I could tell like whoever wrote this like to update it, like I would say that they need to include more like colloquial stuff in there. Um, but yeah, it's still a good book though. And I do like actually both of these books because I'm about to talk about this one too. I go back to these books still, just to review some stuff, and like I don't know, you could kind of call it spaced repetition because like I'll go back to them just to like keep some vocabulary or something or phrases or whatever kind of fresh in my head, because I don't sit there and memorize stuff because no. Um so I'm just looking at my dog over there. I don't know what she's doing. So yeah, so anyway, this book, um I remember talking about this in my other video. Um this is definitely not my favorite book, but I find myself referring into it more frequently now because it actually mentions a bit more like colloquial stuff, and the dialogues. I remember saying something about the dialogues that I didn't like before, but like now, I don't know, for some reason I kind of like this book better. I don't know if I like it better than the other one, but I like it better than I did like it. Um and also like I skipped to kind of like the back part a little bit more, and it seemed to get better. Um but yeah, either way, I think both of those books for anybody that's learning, especially if they're like new to Punjabi, I would recommend both of those books. I think that they both have things to benefit from. Oh, and another thing is that this book, there is actually a part two, but it's not in a hard copy. It's a PDF on their website. And that PDF, I haven't looked at the entire thing, but it seems like there's a lot of information in that PDF that I was kind of sad that it wasn't in this book. So, maybe that's part of the reason why I'm starting to like this book more. I don't know. But the point is that these were some things that I used. And I continue to go back and look at them sometimes. Um, like I said, a lot of this 90 days I focused on listening. One of the things that I spent a lot of time doing was watching or listening to this channel here on YouTube. It's called Mahakartoon TV, Punjabi. Um, they have like they have like Hindi and like I don't know like Bengali or something too. Maybe it's just Hindi. I don't know. But so these cartoons, they're not like little kid cartoons. They're like teenagerish cartoons and like even some that are like a little bit older. But they like I felt like they really helped me with comprehension like a lot. And especially having some vocabulary, like I pick up a lot of things. I still pick up a lot of things because this is one of the things that I continue to use. Um, and like there's just a bunch of phrases too like that you just like hear over and over because like usually in the beginning there's like this I don't know like a teacher or something and she's like, oh, today I'm going to tell you guys another story, blah blah blah. And now like that whole introduction, like now like I could hear it in Punjabi or even in like a little bit different way, but I still know exactly what they're saying because I've heard it so many damn times that I just know. I didn't sit there and memorize it. I just hear it all the time. So, but anyway, I would recommend watching that for listening practice. The only problem is, and this is something I'll make for a different video, is that when you're watching something animated, you can't really see the way that the person's face is moving or like, you know, their expression. So it's, you know, you're missing out if you can't see like real people talking. Which is why I also watch like series still. I don't watch them as much though because I spend a lot of time just listening, not watching. Um, at this point, just because I don't know, whatever. Um, I still use the application called Ling. Um, and I think it says that I'm like a B2 or something. I'm certainly not a B2, but I think that it helps a lot, like with a lot of like the vocabulary and like the sentence structure. Like I mentioned in the other video, it's kind of like Duolingo, um, if you're familiar with that. But they have Punjabi. They have some other languages that Duolingo does not have. Um, I don't know what they are though because that's the only language I use for it. Um, More recently, I've been wait, did I talk? Oh yeah, and then there's a podcast too. I'm not gonna get too much into it, but there's a podcast. It's called Punjabi Podcast, and I listen to it on Spotify. I don't know if it's on other things, but I listen to that a lot, and I can get like quite a bit of what they're saying. It's usually like interviews with like singers or actors or artists or something like that. Um, yeah, I listen to that quite frequently. More recently, I started immersion classes with a website. It's called Hindustani Tongue. And they also have a few other Indian languages. And so I've been doing that 5 days a week, half an hour a day. Um, and that's just like for speaking. Um, and listening too because there's somebody else talking. And then I'm like, I've been like kind of trying to like spam people like like on Hello Talk, um, you know, trying to like speak more with people. But it's not always easy, especially with like the time difference because like I'm in like East Coast time, and the time difference is just it's just out of whack because you know India is like all the way over there, and yeah. Anyway, um, so yeah, the main things I'll just recap was the Teach Yourself, Complete Punjabi, the Colloquial Punjabi, um, that Punjabi podcast, Maha Cartoon TV, and Ling. Like these were the main things that I used. Yeah, and that's about it. I mean, I took a few lessons on italki, but they were like just kind of like conversation and not like instructional. So I can't really say that those were, and it was only like maybe like seven lessons or something with all different people. So it wasn't well, not every single one of them, but anyway. So if you have any questions, let me know. my recorder thing has been turning off at like 10 minutes and 55 seconds, so I want to try to hurry up and finish this. So I'm gonna make another video later, maybe today, talking about why Punjabi, because everybody's asking me that too. So anyway, bye.